Stangibelisco here. I have had some interesting experiences with the charging circuitry in my iPad over the past day or two. I noticed that the charging cord had begun to look a little bit weary around the edges, the plugs in particular. It looked as if the cords were getting kind of marginal there where I plug it into the iPad and where the USB port goes into the charging brick, which then plugs into the wall outlet. And I also noticed that the thing didn't always seem to be charging when it was plugged in. Now, I've never attempted to use that USB port in a computer for the purpose of charging the battery. I've always charged the battery with the little brick that plugs into the wall. I just figured that only made sense. It needs a certain number of milliamps or amperes to charge. But I noticed problems, so today I happened to be down in Spearfish where there's a Walmart store, and I bought a new charging cord. I just figured, I'm starting to have problems with this old thing. Sometimes it tells me it's not charging. Sometimes it'll sit there for 4 or 5 hours and not increase the percentage of charge at all. It was behaving in a very disturbing, erratic way. And I thought, just one more thing. Everything here is half broken, right? That's the state of affairs in the nerd castle. Well, maybe not now. I tried the new cord, and I'll keep trying it. But I also got the latest issue of my ham radio magazine, QST, for the month of August 2017. And the very first, on page 9, Tom Gallagher writes his second century blurb every month. And he wrote about batteries, interestingly enough, and he wrote something very interesting, just one sentence. He said, he was talking about a book that he'd read about batteries, and it said that you should never totally charge nor totally discharge a lithium-ion battery. Now, I believe this iPad uses a lithium-ion battery. And I've never thought twice about letting it get up to 100% and just leaving it sit there, leaving it sit there all night, and figured it would regulate itself. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, to keep it from overcharging. But it was interesting. From now on, with this iPad, I'm never going to let it get all the way up to 100%. I'm certainly never going to let it get all the way down to 0. That thunder's a long way off. Lightning can never strike me from that distance. Can it? Anyway, not while I'm yammering into an iPad, it can't. That's against the rules. But hopefully this new cord will work. I read also on the internet that the iPad and iPhone charging cords have suffered from chronic problems for a long time. Most people rarely get more than 6 months of use out of them. I've gotten well over 3 years, probably 4 or 5 years of use out of this. So certainly it was time for a new one. And in addition to getting the vitamin pills and getting my weeds cut in the top of my noggin, that was my daily accomplishment. Well, I worked on my book too, I didn't totally veg out, and I yammered into an iPad for a while about the charging cord. They're not that expensive. I sure hope this solves that little problem, but this thing, come to think of it, has gotten more than has given me more than its money's worth in terms of useful life, and the power cord I've certainly used for longer than most of them last. So, just a couple of notes. Batteries, chargers, and cords. Oh my. Remember now, never let a lithium-ion battery fully charge. That means never let it get completely to 100%, or never let it get all the way down to 0, says Tom Gallagher in the August 2017 issue of the ham radio magazine QST. Stan Gibilisco signing off, saying 73, which means best regards in ham radio jargon, and so long, which, if you're an old-time radio ham like me, you know already means da-da-da-da-da-da.